Anyway, we do have one thing that you might be interested in coming to see. Is, I don't know if some of you may know about our so-called Art 250 fundraiser, because a lot of the artists, because they don't pay to stay there, they leave us paintings. And of course we used to rent space and pay insurance because we're a registered charity and all that kind of thing, you have to abide by. And so then we thought, this is ridiculous, it's costing us all this money, we can't afford it, so we'll start recycling all of these paintings. So they're all available. The first one we did was, Paddy McKillen gave me a loan of the Habitat building down on Suffolk Street. And literally, there was a crowd up Grafton Street. I don't know if any of you know, remember it. We sold 255 paintings in one night. Wow. And the thing is that we wanted to say to people, it's not about the price, it's not about who you think it is, it's about what is it that you connect with. You know, will it be, it's like bringing a person into your home, you know, you don't want to be bringing in something just because he's loaded when you hate him, you know what I mean? So, you know, so it's about really that sort of thing. And so down in Kerry, even the old farmers now, you're going down the back road and they're saying, would you like to come in and see my collection? I say, what? Come on, you go in and there's one painting on top of one mantelpiece, one painting on top of the other, and they can tell you more about the artist than I can, because they've been looking them up, and that's the whole way it all starts. So you've all been, in a way, a part of that story, and so it's another chapter, just that, one other chapter in the book, and several other chapters to come. So if you have any money, do support these artists, because we have really been looking at perhaps the best, we think, in the different art forms, the different, Ken Brown, I don't know if he's here at the moment, Ken, who was with Aslan, I don't know if you remember, with Christy Dagenham, I was telling somebody earlier, he in fact went down the whole of the west coast of Italy, and he was actually trying to work out what the Renaissance painters, how did they get this kind of feel or whatever, and so he learned about that. And you know, he tried to combine it with some of his music career and stuff like that. This is the guy behind. Rod is here, Rod Coyne. He's been to Kilbrellig several times, maybe too many. No, I don't mean that. You know how bad I am. But you have been there several times. I'm so bad, I know. But no, we love having you, Rod. And he's been able to capture Skellig in the most extraordinary way. And then we have, well, I'm not going to go through them all, but Maggie Brown is this artist who is from England, and she was one of our recent, loved the art stuff when she came from England, and she's one of the recent residents at Kilbrellig, and I love her paintings, just going up the stairs there, we had great interest. And Sarah Corner, where is she? Sarah, is she down there? She is. Oh, here you are. And, but you know, you're painting with the gold frame and everything, and you know, we wouldn't be surprised to know that you were a picture restorer at the V&A. We wouldn't be surprised to know that your exhibition at the St James Palace in London. But then you ended up in Ireland, and I remember the first paintings I saw of yours were of gulls in the sky and birds and all of that. And they're exquisite. They're absolutely exquisite, some of these paintings. And then we have Sarah Corner, who Sarah, some of her stuff is there. I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly where everything is. Again, somebody who came to this country and has been able, she's here tonight, and has been able to make a life for herself in Tipperary. And no, sorry, how did I just talk about Sarah?
But this is more detail now. We like the background here.
Okay, right. Now, well, Linda, you all know. Linda, by the way, I have to tell you, and I'm sorry to have to relate this to a lot of you. Linda Graham, some of you here are great fans of hers. But Sarah, or Linda, is, no, dementia, don't worry. Linda, unfortunately, as you probably know, documentary, big one out there, Late Show, everything, MS, terrible. Guess what? Last part of the story, up to now, still alive, double mastectomy, cancer, on top of MS. Now, can you imagine that she's still painting? What does it mean when you think about it? You know, it's an extraordinary thing. And I helped her when she was telling me about her hair going and her eyebrows going and everything like that. And I said, well, how would you like 2 weeks at Kilbrellig? We happen to have the space going in August. And I could feel across the phone, you know, from England, what that meant to her to be back there again. You know, it's really amazing. And who else, in fact, actually, Andrew Gifford, of course, the little ones in the corner, he's probably the most very expensive artist, but he was at the John Martin Gallery in London. We've recommended a lot of people to the John Martin Gallery in London from Ireland, and they're very pleased. Ecna Healy, of course, on the way up with the famine house. That house is still there, by the way. You wouldn't believe it. The old famine house. When I went down there first, in my Bentley and in my Morgan and all of those things that you bring with you from Dublin, I remember driving up there and seeing this old famine house. And in the spring, sometimes it had a yellow roof because it had a scroll roof, what's called a scroll roof, which is like a sod roof. And of course the buttercups were in bloom. And then you'd go down another 2 months later to inspect the buildings and everything, and it had a pink roof, and it was the foxgloves growing all over the roof, you know. And just amazing. But Ecna is Professor of Art at East London University, and originally came from Kerry, so she has a real fondness for it. Rod I mentioned, Maggie I mentioned, Sarah I mentioned, Linda, where are the rest of them? Susan, of course, she's with us tonight. Susan Marty is probably the most important, I'd say, academic, wonderful, even though she loves her, of course, her paintings, and we do too, which are wonderfully dramatic of all the, where she brings in the scenery. But you have to admit, as you come up the stairs, there is nobody doing anything quite like that, where she is recording now the old forts and the standing stones and all of those. And she's a great friend of ours and has decided, since she came to Kilbrellig, just like the people who went to Waterville or to St. Ives years ago, to just decide to go there and live there and buy a house and be there. And that's what's happening slowly in Ballinascally. But guess what? Government haven't got a clue. Udras, who are looking after the area, haven't got a clue. And then the only who I mentioned Ken. Anybody else I didn't mention? Anybody help me?
Carol.
Carol. Now Carol, there she is there. Now Carol actually has the big, beautiful one over the mantelpiece, and we've had a lot of interest in it. And she does have a funny, because she had a great big one she wanted to show me, and I said, okay, I'll come out and have a look at it. And it was so big we couldn't get it into the show. So she has a room to herself with one painting downstairs, if you really want to have a look at it. And it was really probably one of your first memories of Kilbrellig, and you know, and it's very light and ethereal and everything. It's really amazing. So there you are. I think I've got it. So before I make a show of myself anymore, okay, thank you so much for your support of the gallery. You know, every time we have a show on, and I'll be back. But in a different room.
Terminator.
This happened. I must tell you.
Sorry,
you can have a joke. You can have a joke.
I don't mean it.
This is my Kenzo T-shirt, by the way, which I bought on the sale at John Lewis in London, and normally it costs $5.95 for a T-shirt, but it only cost me $2.95.
Oh, a bargain.
But guess what? I didn't realise I paid cash for it. I really did. That's not, honestly, I didn't steal it. And when I came out, unfortunately, nobody had taken off the tag. So if I go into Grand Thomas or anywhere, it's going to go off. And so I thought I'd wear it for you tonight. I might be in my Westward beret. They're all our, you know, sort of people I really admired when I used to be in the world of magazines and fashion and all that kind of shit. Okay? We're into real stuff here. Okay? So try and buy something, even if it's on installments, James.